Welcome class to the next video lesson. Before we begin, let me remind you that you have a quiz over sections 2.2 through 2.6. So the lesson we're covering today will not be on your quiz, but sections 2.2 through 2.6 will be. So make sure you study those if you have not already. Today's lesson covers section 2.8, inequalities and their graphs. First, we need to define some words. So what is an inequality? Well, an inequality is a mathematical sentence that contains the greater than symbol, the less than symbol, the greater than or equal to symbol, the less than or equal to symbol, or it contains the not equal to symbol, okay? So, let's begin by write down that whole definition. If you need to pause the video, do so. Another definition that we need to cover is a solution of an inequality is any number that makes the inequality true. Just like when we had equations, where if we had a value for over here, for instance, if you had x is equal to 5, what value for x would make this true? Well, 5. If x is 5, then this equation right here is true. For an inequality, if I have x is less than 4, I can have a lot of numbers. You see, x right over here has to be 5. But over here, x could be 3, it could be 0, it could be a negative number. There's a lot of different numbers it could be. That's the point. For inequalities, they're basically the same, except with equations, you're usually only going to have one number, usually. With inequalities, you sometimes have a lot of numbers that it could be, okay? Now, let's take a look at graphing. Graphing solutions for inequalities. So this is an inequality. X is less than 3, and over here, x is greater than 1. I want you to copy down these graphs. First, just make the number lines. That's all you need to do. Make a line. Use the lines already on your notebook paper. Put arrows at the end. Put a 0 in the center, and then make some tick marks. If you want, you can number the tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, -3, and so on. But you don't have to. Pause the video if you need to, but I'm moving on. Over here, we're told to graph x is less than 3. This is what the graph will look like. You will go to the third tick mark. Make sure you put a 3 there to help you see that that is 3. You put an empty circle. Make sure it stays empty, okay? And then you're going to shade in the direction that is less than. This is 3. Where are the numbers that are less than 3? Well, they're this way. They're 1, 2, 0, and the negative numbers. So you shade this in. I've already shaded this one in. So you shade it in. And this shows that I could pick any number here, and that would be a solution for this. Like 0. Is 0 less than 3? Yes. Is -4 less than 3? Yes. Is -20 less than 3? Yes. These are all solutions for it. We use an empty circle because this shows that we cannot include 3 as a solution. Because think about it. 3 is not less than 3. You can't say that. So 3 is not a solution for this inequality. Over here, we have 1. So we're going to go to +1 and put an empty circle again because we can't include 1. 1 is not greater than 1. But now we need to include all the numbers that are greater than 1. And they're all over this way where you got 2 and 4 and 5 and you just keep going. So here you go. You shade it in. And when you shade in to make the line darker. Go all the way to the arrow. Don't just make a little squiggly line. Make it dark. You need to go all the way and make it darker, okay? Make it noticeably darker and darken in that arrow. If you don't, you will get points counted off. All right, let's take a look at 2 more cases. This time, instead of just less than and greater than, we have less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. It works the same way except one slight difference. Let's go to 5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we put a 5 here. Instead of putting an empty circle, I put a filled in circle. And here's why. 5 is a solution for this because I can say 5 is less than or equal to 5, because the or equals there means I include that number. And I need to graph where it's less than, and it's less than in this direction. So we shade all the way down, go all the way down, and then darken in the arrow. And you're done. Over here we have x is greater than -6. So we count -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's -6. Okay? We put in our filled in circle. We graph where the greater than goes. We go this way. Go and make it nice and dark, okay? And that's how you graph an inequality. We have one more thing to cover, and then we're done. We may be told to write an inequality based on a graph. It's kind of the opposite of what we've just done, okay? So here I have two graphs. This one has a filled in circle. This one has an empty circle. Filled in, empty. This one goes all the way, starts at the point -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it starts at -5, while this one starts at +2. So you can, when you're told to write an inequality, you can choose any variable you want. I stick with x personally. So I have x, and I know I have a -5. Now the question is, what symbol goes between the two? Well, if I look here, it looks like I'm going up into the positives, so that means greater than. So x is greater than. I have a filled in circle, so that means it can equal it. So I put the or equal to, so greater than or equal to. Over here, I have my empty circle. I'm going to put my x and my 2. I know it's not going to be or equal to, but is it less than or greater than? Which way am I going? I'm going into the negatives deeper. So it's less than. X is less than 2. You see that? Always check it. Look at your inequality, look at your graph, see if they agree, it makes sense. It's real easy to get the things backwards and have your graphing the wrong direction or putting the wrong symbol there, so make sure you don't do that. Remember, write down any questions you might have.